I'm not going to do, I'm not going to read today. I'm going to do a commencement speech. Because no one is ever going to ask me to do a commencement speech because, you know, I'm who I am. And so it gets a chance for me to do that and then talk, you know, about you. And then some of you may not have ever heard of commencement speech, if like me, you know, because of disciplinary problems. So anyway, I have to get my hat. I would have had a robe, but I couldn't fit it in my carry-on. So I'll take away my emergency old guy hat and put on this hat. For those of you I would have had a robe, but I couldn't fit it. I would have had a robe, but I couldn't fit it in my carry-on. So I'll take away my emergency old guy hat and put on this hat. For those of you who haven't had a graduation, this is called a mortarboard. It's because, presumably, during the medieval times when you had to apprentice to be a mason, you didn't get your own mortarboard until you got through your apprenticeship and you graduated, and then they would put mortar on it, and then you could do this. Presumably, the reason that you have it on your head, and they would make the graduates wear it on their head, it was like, okay, you graduated, but get over yourself. It was just a little bit of humiliation at the last minute, and that's why we make everyone wear them when they graduate today. You can order these, 240 of these for $65 online. So if I had room in my carry-on, you guys would all be wearing the humiliation hat, and it wouldn't just be me. But, you know, I couldn't. I would have ordered it, though. I will order things that I already have online because I know I have it, but I don't know where it is. But if I push this button, it will be on the porch tomorrow. So, I know there's an HDMI 2 cable around here somewhere, but boop, now it's going to be right there. So, anyway. That's not what I'm here to talk about, though. When I was a kid, all you could get delivered to your house was milk, the newspaper, and potato chips. I'm from Ohio, so it was, I'm not proud of it. I just have to confess it, you know, because I don't know if anybody else delivers potato chips. They would give you this 5-gallon can of potato chips. And then in a week, you would put your empty can out and they would bring you a new can and filled of more potato chips. And I think the fortunate thing that I left in 1979 is that everyone else in my neighborhood has died of heart disease from eating subscription potato chips. And anyway, so that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to give you your commencement, your makeup commencement if you've never had one. And so that's what we're going to do. And then I have to do some tassel management later on. I had a job where I had 2 tassels, but not one, so I'm not good at unitassels. As this is my orating gesticulatory thing. As I look out over the fresh faces of you wide-eyed graduates, coming down from Ritalin and Adderall, bubbling with enthusiasm and crippling student debt, I am reminded of lemurs on an island in the Indian Ocean that is soon going to be overwhelmed by rising seawater. Preparing for this occasion, I listened to a lot of commencement speeches, and most of them said that the thing you're going to have to do in life is face your fears. And since this is my first commencement address and very possibly my last, I'm going to say that too. So, you should face your fears. because they are but illusions put in your mind by insecurity and doubt. Much like that one Doctor Who, where the alien went into your brain and found your fears and presented them to you as different kinds of cheesy robots. And why has no one ever thought to give a lozenge to a Dalek? I mean, if you think about it, just one soothing lozenge, and no more exterminate, exterminate. You just pop it right in his little suction cup mouth, and he'd be like, oh, thank you very much. And then, anyway, you've learned something today. Anyway, so face your fears. Probably the worst that will happen to you is, in most cases, you will be embarrassed. And shut up. An embarrassment is a tiny hardship. When really horrible stuff happens, embarrassment will be the least of your worries. So don't be afraid. Never give in to your fears, unless it is of fire. It's probably healthy to be afraid of fire. Unless it is of fire. It's probably healthy to be afraid of fire. And maybe spiders. Speaking of those two fears, if you happen to have a poisonous-looking spider in your house, and he's back in the corner and you're not sure you can get to him with a magazine, do not take like a can of WD-40 or hairspray or something and spray it over a lighter to get the poisonous spider, because that is an expensive lesson. So maybe spiders. And snakes, but no, not snakes. Don't be able to get snakes, but no, not snakes. Don't be able. Face your fears and do not be afraid of snakes. Respectful, yes, but afraid, no. Because when you find your fear of snakes rising, as I think all primates have, you will find that wherever they go, they have to drag their junk across the ground. And that can't be pleasant. This is the way I overcome my fear of public speaking. As I look out on your wide-eyed graduate sharks, totally legitimate fear of sharks, especially if you're in salt water. Fear of sharks anywhere but in the ocean, though, is largely a waste of time, much like setting goals. So life is an adventure, and what makes an adventure is discovery of the unknown. I do not know the gesture for the unknown. Of the unknown. Yes. Did we do the adventure part? Yeah. So I'm going to not, so like your education, I'm going to try and not prepare you for much so I don't fuck up your adventure. Someone, probably my friend Darren, once said, college doesn't teach you anything except how to learn. Your education prepares you only for more education because you don't know shit. And I am no different than you. That said, here are 14 things that I know. 1, if you live to be old, your regrets will be for those things you didn't do, not the things you tried and failed. I know because I am old. You have to try your wings. I shouldn't gesture that. You have to try your wings before you can fly. Otherwise, you'll never know if you can. Unlike penguins. When penguins see birds that can fly, they feel like losers, despite how nicely they are dressed. So don't pay that much attention into how you're dressed. 2, the only point of being an adult is you can eat cake for breakfast. And you don't even have to pretend it's a muffin. This is much more effective if there are children at the breakfast table. They'll ask you, why do you get cake? And you say, because I'm an adult. It motivates them to grow up. Number 3, if you talk long enough, you're going to say something stupid. So even if people let you, shut up. I think I've made my point. Most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. I heard that in an insurance commercial once. That said, be impulsive, get lost. That's get lost. Take off without a plan. I forgot where I was. Oh, smell the flowers. Watch a sunrise. Sell some oregano to kids as weed. Number 5, your coach lied to you. The reason you didn't start in a sport is not because you didn't work hard enough in practice. It's because you suck at sports. But the good news is now that you're graduating, that will never matter again. Coaches, like most other people, are liars, just dumber. I never had boy, when you say that in Green Bay,